I will now live on
Hi.
YouTube.
Facebook and YouTube.
Yeah, this feed is gonna be a super dope podcast today, talking about some really cool stuff. So guys, like and share this feed. I'm now going live on Instagram. There we go, and now we're live. All right, guys, like and share this. Like and share this feed, guys. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. I'm sorry, it's my fault while we're late. It's like crazy traffic getting around in Jersey right now. But guys, we have a good topic today. We are talking about social media and how to build your brand through social media, your brand and your business. We are now live. So guys, like and share this feed. Got a good topic today talking about how to expand your business through media. Period, not just social media, just media. So how to expand your business and your brand through social media. So she's live on Instagram with me on YouTube and Facebook. Guys, like and share this feed. You already know that this is week 51. All right, so next week makes a year that we've been going live, doing Boss Up Talks, and so we're so excited about that part. Like and share this feed, guys. Talking about some really good topics today, and the topic is how to grow your brand through media. Okay, and I could just speak on that part too about just media. My business thrives off of media, right? When people come to my spot to come eat food, they're pulling out their phones, recording the food, taking pictures with this backdrop back here because media plays a role in the experience that people have. Like a lot of people are like, oh, when you're at an event, just stop and enjoy it. But the thing about it is creating content helps people remember who you are, right? For example, there's a lot of people who know who I am because of food, but if I'm not in front of them constantly all the time through social media, through creating eye appealing content, it's very easy for me to be forgotten about. And then it's like, oh, I forgot about Chef J. He could have did but the thing about it is when your content is constantly in front of people, you have it well put together, you have nice colors, you have things that are eye appealing. Your content will draw so many people to your business and your brand.
Oh, this is going to be a good conversation. And although I'm the clarity coach, content is like I feel like one of my weakest areas. But and for that reason, I have a coach.
Mm. You've been doing a good job though with your content though.
Oh, well, thank you. That's
I'll
because I
say
have a
since
coach.
okay, yeah.
She's helping me get it together, and I get to go behind the scenes with her because she's one of my good friends. Thank you,
Mm.
God. And she's like, sometimes I'll post and she'll be like, "Can I give you feedback?" That's her way of being like, "Girl, get us together." But she's so good about it. She's phenomenal. Actually, her name is, and she's been on a couple of these lives. I'm blanking on her name now, Shamar Star Cox, and she's amazing. And she's really helped me transition my brand from being offline to online. And one of the things that I didn't know, I only recently started getting involved in that is marketing, and marketing being the foundation of your business. And
Mm-hmm.
because we're in such a technological age where social media is like the biggest thing right now, people can't help but scroll on their phones. We should be taking advantage of being able to market for free on social media.
Definitely.
So yeah, this is one of those topics that about 6 or 7 months ago, I would probably be like, "Yo, I'm not gonna show up, or I'm gonna just show up and I'm gonna listen." But because I've taken these, and man, I took this marketing course twice already, and I was
Mm.
just like, I didn't know I was taking the same course again. But then when I was going through it, I was like, I needed this again because I needed to be reminded of how foundational marketing is. People
Mm.
like to do all the other stuff in the business, but if nobody knows that you have a business, what you
That's
gonna do
good.
then?
That
So this
part.
is great.
I think that's the important part about it is sometimes when we're so hooked on our gift, we forget that we have to share our gift. So oftentimes we're perfecting different things, trying to be this perfected version of ourselves. But and that was me when I first got on Instagram. I was so first. Let's talk about MySpace, right? So I enjoyed MySpace. MySpace, you had to change the music to change the mood with your backgrounds and everything like that. And then next, Facebook came out. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna stay with Facebook. With MySpace. Next, I got on MySpace finally when I was in college. And I'm like, okay, this is cool. You know, it's a different platform. And then you had the Instagrams that came out, the TikTok, all the stuff like that. And sometimes it can become overwhelming because when I first started, this is before videos were popular with Instagram. Like I would do all of this work to put together like these pictures. Like I would do the editing only for somebody just to like scroll past it, right? But here's the thing about it is, you know, content in nowadays society is really about quantity, not quality, right? Quantity is the name of the game because what happens is you'll spend all of this time on one post, like, oh, this is gonna be the one, and the next you know, it gets like 2 likes, it gets 15 likes, right? But then there's one time, you know, I was just like, I'm in a season now where I just post, like, post it, because you know sometimes we look at the 15 likes, but what if those 15 people are the ones with the money to really buy your service, right? So you want to make sure you're always posting on social media, really to elevate your brand. I went to a seminar the other day, and I have it right here too. At the seminar, um, the speaker was talking about content in a ways of just like creating a good brand. And so what he was saying, if I'm a notebook, I always have my notebook handy. Listen, I got my notes. I got my notes. Listen, because you're not always a teacher. You have to know that I'd rather be the student who applies than a teacher that's always teaching, because what happens is when you're always teaching, that means you're never getting fed, right? So I have my notes. I always put my notes on. I'll be there. So um, Dr. Seisha's son was talking, Ryan, that's his name. Ryan was talking about that he looks at social media as pillars, right? So he said the first one, I want to make sure I get it right because I want to make sure I don't mess up what I was saying. So we were talking about, he did, listen, I'm off my notes. I don't care what nobody say. I'm going to have me some notes. So he gave a few different good things for social media. And he was saying that's about quality over, he said it's quantity over quality, right? Because a lot of times with social media, people don't even watch their stuff. You may get attention for 7 seconds. I used to make these long-winded 1 minute posts, 5 minute posts to have only maybe 10% of my population watch that. So he was talking about the five pillars. First off, you want to know what is in your business. What is the five pillars? The first thing is you want to focus on the hooks. What are the five pillars? So what he was saying by that was with social media, let's say for somebody like me, right? I could be old, like this. How I was all over this place looking for this notebook. That's me sometime in my life, right? Because I do food in 3 different areas. I also teach. I do coaching. So for me, and I always have to focus on one thing, right? So let's say, for example, is somebody's like, well, Josh, I don't even know how to even create content for what I want to do because I'm always doing something, right? Create 4 or 5 things you could be good at. So let's say, for example, is we're doing content Sunday through Saturday, and just pick a date. Like for example, we know that Wednesday for Natalie and I, our content is the Boss Up podcast because that's what we created for Wednesday for this last year. Then let's say Tuesday, I may do like Tablescape Tuesday. Thursday, I'll do something Monday motivational. So you want to pick something where you can rotate them where you're not burning yourself out, right? Because sometimes content can be very, very scary. Most of my chef friends are not good at content. It's just that I've just been doing it. I know that the way I'm able to get the money I make is because of my Instagram and my social media. Another thing too is you want to focus on your hooks. Like, what are your headlines? It's nothing like seeing it. If you guys go on YouTube, you'll see like a podcast. They'll say something powerful, and then they'll go into the production of it, right? So what happens is you want to create, you know, a lot of quality and a lot of quantity, but you don't want to. You want to make sure it's still eye appealing. One thing I love about Natalie's content is always colorful. Like Natalie's content is she uses some yellows in her stuff. She uses different colors that are bright, right? Even her profile picture is a yellow dress. So now she shows that one, she's learned how to complement her skin complexion and also how to really show color in what she does. Sometimes with our content, you know, we get so used to thinking it's not important that we just show up anyway, right? So the thing about it too is, and let's think about it this way, right? Let's say you're the audience, right? And you see a product. I love to see restaurants that have beautiful food, and it makes me want to go. With Natalie's coaching, it makes me want to take her coaching because she makes everything so colorful. She makes it very vivid. She does a lot of different voiceovers because she takes time where, yeah, I'll be watching. I'll be watching, right? So when it comes to really branding your business through media, you want to be sure that you're using all technology you have to offer. For example, as we're so big in AI right now, artificial intelligence, like you can, it's a website called Open Chat AI, and you can literally, let's say, hey, make a post advertising Chef J's private dining experience, talk about the ambiance, talk about this, add a few hashtags, and you'll create a whole post. If you know, like the last maybe 7 posts, I did it all through AI. So you'll be so familiar with, if I want to establish a brand for myself on social media, I have to do some key things with not compromising who I am, but it's a very big part about what we do, about how you show up online.
Sadie, out here because the kids came home early from school. Oh my gosh. But like I said, I am not, when it comes to me, certain things that I'm that's not my expertise. I just go ahead and I outsource or I get a coach
Yeah.
for that. And but the one thing I do know about content, or two things I'll say, is start with one, focus on one, master one. So for
Mm-hmm.
me, I knew my voice was the most powerful thing about me. So when Holy Spirit told me to go on Clubhouse, I hesitated a little bit, but Clubhouse is where I spend 80% of my time. So I'm on Clubhouse, I'm speaking, I'm getting on people's platforms. I have other people come on my platform. So Clubhouse is where I decided to develop my credibility and own that
Mm-hmm.
space on Clubhouse. And I really focused on that. Now, Instagram and Facebook and everything, they were like the little appetizers, the teasers, the desserts. I don't really focus too much on those platforms because my voice, again, that's my most powerful. Like I know that as my most powerful asset. So
Mm-hmm.
I just like focus and stay with that. The second thing is consistency when it comes to social media. Like I have seen people who have been consistent in posting. And when I say consistent, I mean there's the same amount of time in between the time they post. They post like every Sunday, or they post once a day, or they post once every 3 days. Those people prior to COVID that I was following, like in 2017, 2018, after COVID, they blew up. Their accounts are now over 100,000 followers, and
Mm-hmm.
they were just people that were consistently just showing up and being authentically themselves. And
Yeah.
so that's what I learned from watching that although in the beginning it may be slow for many people, it's your consistency that allows you to become more credible in that particular area. If you decide that, you know what, I'm just going to drop off for like 3 to 4 months and then come back, or I'll just post every when I feel like it, you're not going to get people to really listen in or tune into your voice, and your brand is very muddled by that inconsistency. So consistency, and then focus, starting with one platform where you can spend a large majority of your time, that's going to be the game changer.
Mm-hmm. And I think what you said was really cool is you said that if you just show up once in a while, that's how people are going to show up to your business once in a while. There's certain times we want to be successful at certain things, and we don't want to put the energy into it. That's one thing I learned too, is just that if I don't want to be broke, I have to show up. If I don't want to, be in a deficit, I have to show up. Even too, like, I'm like, okay, Jay, you know that March and April are usually the slowest months until Mother's Day. So what are you going to do? So you know what I did? I put out 4 events. I have an infused dinner party. I'm doing an Easter brunch, and I'm also doing a regular Sunday brunch. I did the brunch last week. So I've learned how to book myself, but the way I get booked is I know that, for example, is if I'm going to promote brunch, I need to do it at least a week in advance, right? Minimum. But I know that, okay, Josh, you got to go through your content. And here's the thing about that too, is sometimes we make content so difficult. Like I literally be reposting the same stuff. Like one post that didn't do too well, one time I only got like 500 likes. I posted it again, I got 1.5 billion views on it. So it's like sometimes you have to recycle, reduce, what's it? Recycle, reuse, whatever it is. With this, listen, recycle your stuff. Because the thing about it is too is like, if like I got between all my pages, I have like between both pages I have like 10K followers, right? So for me, it's like everybody ain't see my stuff, so let me circle it back again, because I know for a fact that I make people hungry by my posts. Right, I love when somebody wants to book me for a gig. I send them the menu, then they start researching my page. Because they start saying, "Oh wow, like he really is a chef." So the thing about it is, you have to be so mindful of one. It goes back to what we always talk about: having clarity of your purpose. When you know your purpose, things become easier, because now you could do stuff that's focused towards your brand. Like for me, I don't put too much personal stuff on my page anymore, because that's just really a business situation. I do believe I don't agree with actually having a business in a personal page. I've done it before, and that's why my followers are divided, which I really wish I didn't do that. But you live and you learn. You learn how to move certain things. But you got to remember too is if you're afraid of social media, if you're afraid of creating content for your brand, think about it this way. With content, with posting, you want to think about this. Who needs to see my content today? Who needs to see my gift on display, right? And a good person who was responsible for that is think about not King David, Daniel. Daniel was a person of excellence. Daniel was so on display that his brothers wanted to kill him because his life was on display. And sometimes it's uncomfortable to be on display when it comes to like media and being the face of your brand. But what happens is God puts you in places where you're supposed to be the light. Like when people go on social media hiatus, I'm like, wow. I'm like, what do you mean? Like that's a big part of business. But when you start to really think about it, okay, my brand is a part of my gift. My gift is what I do through my business. Food is how I, get people it may be a birthday party, maybe an anniversary. That's how I really reel people in, right? So if I don't post, that means I'm being selfish with my gift because there are people who need my experience. Like there's people who told me like, Jay, this is the best birthday I've ever had. Like even too when I just heard events, they said, wow, like my last Mother's Day was so horrible because of that. Or I had one person say, because I post so much for Mother's Day, that they said that this is the last time they saw their aunt who was like their mom because they passed. So she passed away like 3 months later. So they had so many videos that we took and that, they posted. But if I would have never posted that event and never would have had the funds to pay for the event, they would have never had that experience. Even with coaching, there's certain people that I'm able to coach, right? Now able to coach that they would never know about our coach if we never posted. So think about it that way. Like how many lives are being forgotten about if we don't really post our content to promote our business, because our brand is our business. Our business is our gift. A part of our gift is a part of our life. Is how we share the light to Christ to others, or we share light, period. So never be afraid to post, never be afraid to, because you just never know what's on the other end, who's the audience. You never know who you're reaching. Think about it, we had that crazy shooting inside the school this past past few days. What if this person needed to see one of our posts about peace, about getting clarity of your vision, about getting clarity of your purpose, and we were the ones they spoke to, but we weren't selfish about doing our posting. So think about it that way. Like, who are you neglecting by hiding your voice and hiding yourself from offline?
I had to put that in the chat. Who needs to see my content today? Who needs to see my gifts on display? Dude, you was dropping bars. Cause that right there, I was like, wow, I never saw producing content as displaying your gift, as letting people know this is how I serve. And so when it's put in that perspective, it makes it even more powerful, and it makes you um move differently.
Mm,
So you're not like, because we go to social media sometimes to just um decompress from the day, to forget what's going on. And sometimes we'll run into somebody's content and they'll be like, oh, that's exactly what I needed for the day.
oh,
But can
good.
you imagine it being you, that somebody else is on the other end saying, oh, that's exactly what I needed. I prayed today and I said, this is going to be my last day. And I went on social media and I saw your post and I was like, nah, I could give it another shot. So you never think about it like that. And then, even for you, when you're doing food, like sometimes you'll have these inspirational things in the background as you're
Oh, yeah.
cooking. And even though we're looking at something that is super appetizing and appealing, a friend of mine who lives in Missouri was like, where's that brunch gonna be at? I was like, girl, it's Jersey. That's why I said to my New Jersey peeps. She didn't even read that. She just
Just saw the
saw the
food.
food. It's like the words behind it, the inspiration behind it. It's like, oh my gosh, I was just having such a bad day, and your food is appealing. It captured my eyes, but then now it's speaking to my soul, because you do
Hmm.
food on a whole nother level. You've gotten to that deep, to understanding that it's not just something that we're eating, but we're having an experience and an encounter with you. And every
Yeah.
time we encounter Chef J, we encounter excellence, we encounter positivity, we encounter Jesus. So that's a whole
Hmm.
another level, to you taking something that The average person might be like, oh, this is just, cooking, or this is just a chef. It's like, no, 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 this is a whole
It's so much more
experience.
than that.
There's so much more. And we have to look, I mean, when you're doing your business, you have to look at your business as so much more. Like
Mm-hmm.
Chef Jay said, it is displaying your gift, and your gift is not just what you do. You are the gift.
Mm-hmm.
You are the gift to the world. And so, um, my coach says something. She says a whole lot, but one thing she says is test, test, pivot. When you're putting your stuff out on social media, and then she says feedback is, we don't fear feedback over here. So when you don't get the comments, or you don't get the likes, just look at it as feedback. Like, this is not what your audience wants. Your audience wants you to create stuff for them. And
Yeah.
when I have my clarity sessions, I really tell people, because once I was just focused on the clients, the next part I was just focused on, my call to the marketplace. But your company is where it's the bridge between your call to the marketplace and what your clients want and need. And you
Mm-hmm.
have to be able to bridge that. Same thing with the content. Yes, it's coming from the inside of me, but what do they want to see? What do the people that you're serving want to see? And you have to
Mm-hmm.
find a way to bridge the gap between that. And you can't do that without being consistent. You can't do that without showing up consistently, because you'll go away for a 3-month hiatus, and then you come back and it'll be like, yeah, totally different ball game that you playing with. The Instagram is not the same like it was last year. It is definitely not the same as it was when it first came out. And you want to
Mm-hmm.
stay consistently in the market so that you can see what's happening and how it's changing, because it definitely evolves over time.
And I think that's the case. That's just such a true thing. But I think too is we don't give ourselves grace to evolve. I think that's the biggest part about even with content. Look at my old like. There's some content I can't repurpose because the quality is not the same. The camera wasn't the same. So what I realized too is, why would you not give yourself time to really grow, right? You got to give yourself room to grow, and even to realize that your brand is always developing. Like, some brands don't stay the same. Or even you got to know when is the time to pivot from that type of content. I know for me, I have to be mindful of what I post when I post it, because it may not be the season for that. Like, for example, is I'm doing an infused dinner party for 420, which is for people who indulge in cannabis. The best time to do it is 420. Like, that's like me trying to do it next month. Not saying it's not going to happen, but you want to create your content to gear towards what's going on, right? Like, I know for a fact for Mother's Day, I would not do a Mother's Day event in February, because guess what? Mother's Day is in May. So even too, I would, not saying I wouldn't do a vision board party during the year, but I would really do a vision board party at the beginning of the year. So when it comes to content and really showing off your business, not saying there's not a need for it, but purpose it and package it in a way that people need it at that time, right? I know for a fact it's getting warm outside. So what I'm about to do a promotion on my seasonings, because people want the low sodium season. So you want to be smart and strategic about what you do. When it comes to just content promoting yourself, like, think about, what is my audience, what I want my audience to receive. And so oftentimes when it comes to us, it's not that we don't have money. It's never a money shortage. It's an idea shortage, right? So when you create creativity through your content, through your presentation of yourself, remember, you're always on display. Like, I'm always on display every single day. I don't really get days off from being on display, because I've just been very big on just how I show up to the marketplace. Like, showing up to the marketplace is so important, because you're doing what? You're marketing yourself. And if you wonder why your bank account is not growing, if you wonder why things are not growing, is because how are you marketing yourself? And are you consistently showing up as marketable as you can be? For me, you guys, every podcast except a few, you've seen a Chef J hat, because guess what? It markets my brand. So even back here, it markets my brand, the Chef J experience. When it comes to branding, you want to be known as the expert of that area. Social media helps that, right? How you show up. If you're talking about, let's say, apple pie every day, I'm known as the apple pie man. But what if I start talking about chicken? They're like, wait, hold on, slow down. You make chicken too? Like, I didn't know you did chicken. Like, so it's like, for me, I juggle a lot because I promote a lot of stuff. For me, Natalie promotes one main thing, which is clarity. That's not me. I don't promote just one thing. I promote the coaching side. And sometimes if I do focus, it would be better if I promote one thing, but I have to be mindful my business doesn't work like that. Like for me, I would not sell pans of food promoted heavy other than Thanksgiving, because that's when people order pans of food from me. You got to know what season you're in with your business. You got to know what season you're in when it comes to branding, because the thing about branding and marketing, you want to know when you do it. You got to realize too is McDonald's only has that the green milkshake during what month? St. Patrick's Day, because they're busy promoting that. So when you think about that too, even too, Chick-fil-A only promotes the peach milkshake during its like summer, spring months, right? Do they have it there now? No, because guess what? It ain't warm yet. So once it get warm, you're gonna see them repurpose that. So when you're really learning how to really grow and brand your business and really solidify your hustle, because a hustle does not have to be a hustle all its time it's growing, right? For me, I've had to hustle. Now, will I do that? Do I have the same energy to hustle like I used to? No, because now I realize that my hustle has a higher price point. When I first started doing brunches, it was $20. Now for a public brunch is like 55. When I first started doing the private dining experience, it was $45 for 3 courses. Now you can't even see me at that. Now they start at 150 a person. And it's not a bad thing, but as you start branding and becoming the expert of that area, your value starts to go up because now people have known you for that. Like somebody called me 2 weeks ago, said, "Oh, I thought you was only $55 for the private dining." I said, "Lady, that wasn't since like 2017. Where you been at?" But I become the expert of that. Like, and this is not me being like boastful about it. I'm glad that God gave me the idea about doing private dining back in 2013. A lot of chefs was not doing private dining. That was not the wave. But myself and a lot of other people really took time to brand private dining. So now we were able to really encourage other people to start doing private dining. Now you see everywhere. If you type in private dining on Instagram, it's like over 100,000 people using that hashtag because we have taken time to become the expert to now, even though the market seems oversaturated, because I got stake in a game that if you hashtag my stuff, you'll see me doing this for years. So now I become the expert of that area in that field because I took time to work on my branding through social media.
Yo, that part right there where you said now you have become known as the expert because you took the time to brand through social media. That's how powerful branding is. And if you think
Mm-hmm.
about branding in its original context, it's like when they branded the cow with the
Mm.
name of the owner and it's like this is mine. I have stake in the game. Like this all of this right here with my brand on it, this my name. This is what we're doing when we're using social media to brand our expertise. And I guess we will have to talk about consistency again because it's consistency, showing
Mm.
up, making those tweaks, making those changes, creating a system so that you can rest.
Yeah.
Nobody says that we don't rest. Like my birthday's in September, four of my kids' birthdays is in September, half my family birthdays is in September. September, I don't really work like that. But
Mm.
there's a system that's in place so that when I'm chilling, when I'm
Yeah.
hanging out having 17,000 birthday parties, everything is working for me. You can have a process for your social media. You can have a process for your branding. You have
Mm-hmm.
to have the ability to show up in different spaces and be the expert. You heard what
Yeah.
Chef Jay just said. Nobody was doing private dining. He's pretty much him and a few other people paved the way, but even though it's oversaturated right now because he took his time to master the craft and
Mm-hmm.
master the branding, he could stand out even in a saturated marketplace. How do you stand out in a saturated marketplace? You got to become a master at that thing. And that means
Yeah.
you got to consistently show up. People are always out here and we love information because we're the information age right now. We're in that age, this
Mm-hmm.
technological age. I could pop anything in. I could pop it into AI. I could do all that. But if you don't know what you're popping into AI, it's just gonna give you whatever you put in. The output is really dependent upon what's being inputted into that system. So if
Mm-hmm.
you really are not clear about what you need to put in, you're gonna get jumped out. And when you put it out in the market, nobody's gonna care. So you really have to do the work on the inside. You really have to have clarity on who you are, how you want to show up, what do you want people to see when they see you? Because
That's
branding is
good.
not just about what I'm projecting into the marketplace. It's also what are people picking up.
Mm-hmm.
What are people seeing when I project something? Because you could say, I could say, like this phrase my girl said the other day, mind your business. And one person be like, ew, get offended. And another person be like, heck yeah, I'm going to mind my business because of the context in which it is stated. So you got to know when I'm putting something down, when I'm coming out here on social media, when I'm saying a thing, what is my people picking up? And I love how you said, you were like, Natalie, all she talk about is clarity. But I am a different person. I have a different type of business. I have to have these different streams and these different avenues because you know who you are. You're not coming in the
Mm-hmm.
space being like, oh, I got to be like her. She focusing on one. She only talking about one thing. I got to talk about one thing. No, you were like, this is how I show up and this is how I make money. We got to be clear about how we're going to show up and how we make money. Listen,
That's good.
McDonald's, they talk about the Big Mac all the time, and now they don't really talk about it. Back in my day, it used to be the Happy Meal. All I heard was Happy Meal. Everywhere I went, I heard Happy Meal. I think I was 13 and I still wanted a Happy Meal because that's how much they advertised that thing. But there's a time when all you heard was the Big Mac. They ain't advertised nothing else but the Big Mac, the Big Mac, the Big Mac, the Big Mac. Then there's a time when they advertise the quarter pounder, the quarter pounder, the quarter pounder, the quarter pounder. But there are other places and other companies that only market one thing. And although they
Mm-hmm.
offer several different things, they're using that one thing to bring their people in, and then they advertise other stuff. Listen, for the longest, I didn't even know that Chick-fil-A had Sunjoy. I just happened to go because I always get my spicy chicken sandwich with a Diet Coke and medium fries. And I happened to go and I saw somebody drinking. So I was like, what is that? They were like, this is a Sunjoy. I was like, I want that. I want a Sunjoy. And I have not went back to Diet Coke. That's the only thing
I
I
don't even know what
get when
that
I go.
is.
Listen, it is lemonade with sweet tea, baby. Because I
Oh,
don't
that's what they
like
call it.
sweet tea
Oh,
like
okay.
that. Yeah, I
Okay.
don't like sweet tea like that. And I don't like Chick-fil-A lemonade like that. But when you put that sweet tea and that lemonade together, you get a Sunjoy. Okay? So, and then I've never seen them advertise a Sunjoy. But the one time I had that thing, that's all I get. I don't ever get Diet Coke when I go to Chick-fil-A. It's a Sunjoy for me. But you know what I mean? Like they do such a great job at their branding. Even though
Mm-hmm.
they're known for one thing, you can come in there and get anything that you actually want. If you don't like it, you can get something else because they have alternatives. But you have to know who you are. You have to know what you want people to see when you project yourself into the marketplace. And social media, again, is one of those places where we can do this thing for free. Ain't nobody charging you to show up on your social media page and advertise. If you went to a billboard, if you went to the radio station, if you went to people be talking about ads, Facebook ads and stuff like that. I only do that when I want to boost a post, when I want to get it in front of more people. But honestly, like if we were to just like Chef J said, quantity, keep pumping that thing out, it would get in front of more eyes. And the more that you're pumping these things out, the more that you can help to become a master of your craft. He ain't saying just keep pumping out mediocrity now. He didn't. He said you keep pumping it out, and when you keep pumping it out, you gonna be so good. Like Chef J got so good at his content that people started reaching out to him to pay him to do content.
That
That's
part.
how good he got at his own. Like I said, I'm not on that level. Natalie not even trying to be on that level. I'm the type of person that be like, I'll get better at clarity. I'll pay you to do my content. But I gotta get somewhere because I don't want to show up
But you got
looking
to know the
crazy.
difference, though. Here's the thing about
I
it too. You
do.
have to know the difference where know what you can do and what you can't do. Like that's the biggest thing about business I've learned. I cannot do everything. Like at this new school I'm at, like I'm just doing everything in my old schools. My principal's like, hey Jay, let me do this. Let me make this. Let me even simple as hey, let me make the labels for the food. Let me do this because before I try to do everything, and it's not that I can't. But it's just like, but why not let somebody do it for you? You know, what happens as you learn how to give up certain tasks, you now have clarity, time, you have time to be clear. You know, sometimes you're overworking yourself and it's like you don't even have time to even establish or focus on one thing because you're so busy on being busy. I want to be fruitful, booked and fruitful, not booked and busy. Because busy don't mean that you're really actually really enjoying the experience. There's sometimes that people make a lot of money and they don't even enjoy life. You know, one client of mine who is a multimillionaire, well, that's what they say. But anyway, they said to me, you know, people be fronting about what their really their net worth is. So I'm like, I don't be impressed by people who got a lot of zeros on air quote zeros. So she was like, "Hey Jay, like, how do you travel so much by yourself?" And I'm like, "Cause I like spending time by myself." But for me, it's just like if I'm always trying to be booked and busy, because in the chef world, most chefs don't have a life. I'm not trying to be funny; they don't have a life. They're always tired. So for me, I make time to do many vacations. But if you don't have enough resources coming in from your branding, you know, you gotta always like look for another way. So I've learned to not to try to do everything myself. Like sometimes I can't help it, but for the most part, I try to be able to relinquish tasks to people. So now I can get clarity and get rest, right? When you are at a certain point in your business through like your branding and stuff like that, you start to be get known for stuff to where now your resources go up and you're able to pay people to do certain things. Another part of our brands and our business is we have to make ourselves duplicatable, right? For example, this one, so me and Natalie, this is 1 week I can't get on live and she can't get on live. So I'm about to ask Natalie, now we need to do a pre-recorded session so we can post it because we want to be consistent with our timing, right? You want to be consistent at showing up. When you show up and you're mindful how you show up to the marketplace, how you show up to life, how you show up to the day, how you show up to work, you know, there's a certain level of respect that you get back. Like even too on my class periods. Now, sometimes I do be flipping because I gotta find out what kid had gave these Scotch bonnets out and made them burn their mouth. So that's another story for another day. But for me, like I have to show up to class every day with some good energy because a lot of kids go through stuff, right? So for me, I know that I am their only class that they have a good time in, right? I'm the only class they get to talk, they get to chill out. So for me, I always have to be always up and up, right? But I show up to class always with the same energy because for me, I know that there's an expectation that comes from when you start really doing things consistently, right? So as you start to show up to your business tomorrow, show up to work, show up to anywhere you're showing up to, you want to be mindful of how you are showing up to the marketplace because you want to make sure you're bringing the appropriate energy and you want to make sure that people they want to be around you by your energy. Like there's some of you, the reason why you don't have enough resources coming to you is because you're just not showing up for yourself. If you don't show up for nobody else, show up for yourself, right? There's some times where life gets like even this week, I didn't really post as much as I normally do because I just wasn't feeling it. But I'm like, Jay, you want to feel that you know you about to be out of school in June and you want to have a fun summer, so you need to show up so you can be off for the month of July and the month of August and really chill out because I'm trying to do a whole world tour out here, you know. So the more you show up for yourself, the more you start to see that everything starts to become smoother than it would normally be if it wasn't like you on your grind and your hustle and really thinking about your brand and you know how you show up to the marketplace.
Amen. Amen. Show up for yourself, okay? So you can be going out of town like Chef J. He go out of town more time, more. He be out of town more or out of the country more than spirit. That's what I put in the thing. Like, where
Listen,
you at? I'm in Jamaica. Where you at?
only
I'm in
reason why I'm
Mexico.
not
Where
out is
you at?
because
I'm
I got
like,
a
what
job
the
now.
world?
Listen, if it was for
Are you
this
gonna?
job, I would be back out Monday, like how I am come back on Thursday. But I really like this job. I really love teaching. But for me, if it wasn't for me really enjoying teaching, you would see a different background every single week, like it was.
Every single
If you
week.
watch some podcasts back,
Last the
yeah,
first
first 6 months, always out somewhere else. You know, but I had to make traveling important to me. What
Yeah.
you make important to you will start to show up. So if you don't take time to make certain things important, you're gonna keep man, like I wish I had a vacation. Oh, like I wish I had a spot. when you start to really think about yourself first and take care of you, you start to realize that by you showing up to the marketplace with your content and your brand and social media, life starts to become easy because now you have enough resources coming in that you can take a vacation, you could take a break. Some of us are just so worn out and tired because we have not decided to value self-care, but you don't got enough money to have self-care because you gotta, you're struggling because you're wondering how do I make ends meet when the thing is right in front of you, your phone. Download an app called Canva, download Adobe Express, download Beatly. There's so many apps you can use to make your content so dope. So now the resources come in that, hey, you know what? I got so much money this week from 3 weeks of work, I can take off the fourth week of the month. Like that's a reality of life. Like once I've been traveling with so many people as business coach who have so much resources, they don't be working that hard. They'll give you like 2 weeks of work and then they're gonna take a week or two off and travel or do a spa day. Like you want to really develop the life you want, but you have to take time to really show up for yourself, show up in the marketplaces that you can take a little break. Breaks are good. So just try to find ways to really show up to the marketplace, work on branding your business, and sometimes you are the business of branding yourself. And then from that moment, you have enough resources to really live the life. Boss Up Talk is building opportunities strategically and successfully. All we do is show people how to build opportunities for themselves, to be strategic with what they do, and to create a success. Like that's why we come live every single week. We ain't getting paid for this, but we show up because we know that it might be sometimes 3 people on live or maybe 50 people on live. But we know that we're impacting lives because if it's just one person that can really receive what we have, we want that to be the case. Because when it's time to grow and pivot, we want people to join with us and grow and pivot because there are so many people who needs what we have. There's so many people who needs our gift. They need to know about clarity. To impact lives. The more we show up, the more we start to help people out. The more you show up, you'll like your blessings on the other side of you showing up. Like sometimes we wonder why things aren't working for us because we're not showing up. If you start to show up and let your light shine before all men, that's why it's important to share your gifts, to show your gifts on display. God will make sure everything is right. Once you just start to show up, you never know who's going to watch your content one day that has a whole bunch of resources. And hey, I need what Natalie has to say. And that's why Natalie had her first 5K week last week because she kept showing up. And sometimes you show up and it ain't working. Sometimes we show up here, the electronics not working. Sometimes we show up, it just doesn't happen, but we don't stop showing up because one thing is wrong. We know that, hey, God, you called us to this space, so why would I ever be so selfish to hold my gift back to help somebody else out? So when you ever start thinking about showing up, you got to show for yourself. As an entrepreneur, my boy just got on here, real guy saying, what up, bro? He owns the Heart Ballroom having Mother's Day. One thing about him, he is showing up on social media page promoting his event space. So you can't expect to go to the next level. You're not showing up for yourself. Like, how do you want to get this big brand? How do you want to start making $10,000 a day, $100,000? It's all possible, but if you don't show up and boss up for yourself, it's not going to happen. So branding is so important for the everyday entrepreneur. You may have not been taught this stuff, but you want to make sure you get a coach. If you're looking for clarity in your business, reach out to Natalie. If you're looking for finding ways how to really monetize your purpose, let's talk about it. And your gift is because we want you guys to get to a point where you're bringing in resources and you're living your best life. And whatever your best life is, take time and write down what it is. What does my best life look like for me? Because once you start to write it down, now, okay, so what do I have to do to get to this best life? And sometimes it's showing up on social media, showing up on us. But we gotta go now because I forgot. Natalie, you gotta pick up your kids. All right, so we're gonna wrap this up. I was going in, sorry about that. But guys, join us next week. If you want to watch the full replay of this, guys, go on YouTube or Instagram. This is week 51. Next week makes a whole year we've been doing this podcast. Thank you guys for showing up for us today. But we about to be out. Sorry, my bad, Natalie. She got to go pick up her kids. All right. Anything else, Natalie? Listen, she got some courses. I have some courses, so check the link in our bio and have a wonderful week on purpose.